This video lecture is from section 1.4 about conversions and some story problem applications. You'll notice on the right hand side of my screen I have a TI-84 Plus Silver Edition. If you don't want to use this, and I've posted how to download this to your computer, you can always use Microsoft Excel because it works like a calculator. We're going to start off fairly simple to just talk about conversions first of all. So the first thing we're going to do is convert 7 feet to inches. To show this, I'm going to go ahead and use Microsoft Excel and the equation editor. You will probably be doing most of your work by hand. That's fine. I just thought it would be pretty universal to see me typing it, especially when you're working into Math 108, because you'll be turning in your assignments and you'll be typing your answers. So the first thing I'm going to do is bring in an equation. So I go to Insert and I go to Equation. I don't want to use one of the built-in equations, I just want a regular equation. Then I'll go to the Design tool and it'll give me all of my options. Now the first thing I want in here is 7 feet. 7 feet. Now I need to convert that to inches, so I'm going to times it by a conversion, a unit conversion. So I'm going to go to adding a fraction. Using my arrow button to go over, I know I want to get rid of feet and replace it with inches. And knowing fractions, if I have something on the top and the bottom, they will cancel out. So I'm going to put feet on the bottom and inches on top. Now I have to think about what's the conversions from feet to inches. I know that 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. There we go. Now I have feet on the top and feet on the bottom, which means they can cancel out. So I'm going to use my strike through feature over here to cancel out the feet. I no longer have feet. The unit of feet is gone because I have canceled it out with the top and the bottom, and I'm only left with inches. So now I need 7 times 12 for my inches, which you have done in your memorization of multiplications. So 7 times 12 gives me 84. And don't forget to type in the units. And just as a heads up for typing things, it's in grade school they taught you to circle your answers in math, but we don't really have a circling feature, so I like to highlight mine. Or sometimes I change the text color, some way to identify that that's the answer, but my favorite is highlighting. Alright, let's move into the next one, converting 91 days into weeks. I've already set up the equation, but just as a reminder, just so that we can see it again, go over to Insert and Equation, press Equation, and it'll bring it up, and I've already typed in 91 days, and I need to times it by a fraction because I'm going to be converting this into weeks. So the first thing I think of is, what do I need to get rid of? Well, if I have days up here, then I need days on the bottom to cancel it out. And I'm replacing it with weeks. Now I need to think of the numbers. Weeks and days. I know 1 week is equivalent to 7 days. Now the reason I'm able to times this fraction to something else is 1 week is equivalent to 7 days, and if I were to reduce this fraction, it would reduce to 1. And anything times 1 keeps its value, so that's why I can go ahead and multiply. Now that I have days on the top and the bottom, they will cancel out. There we go. And I'm only left with the unit of weeks. So now I need to simplify those numbers. 91 times, now 91 doesn't have a denominator. I could fix that by making it into a fraction and placing it over a 1, because anything over a 1 keeps its value. So now I know I have 91 times 1 week. So I'm going to add my next fraction. 91 times 1 week. 91 times 1 is 91. unit of nothing with the 91 times week gives me, 91 week over 7, and now we have no more units on the bottom. They've all canceled out, and I need to simplify this fraction. And over here I'm going to use my little application of the TI-84 plus, and I'm going to type in 91 divided by 7, press enter on my keypad, and I could press these buttons down here. I also can just use my keypad and that works just as well. So that gives me 13. Now I look back over and the only unit I have left is weeks, so it's 13 weeks, and I'm going to highlight that so that we can all see that that's the answer. Now some of you may not want to download this calculator. That's fine. I'm going to minimize that and show you that Microsoft Excel will work in the exact same way. Remember, it works like a calculator, so you just need to press equals. We had 91 divided by 7, press enter, and it'll calculate it to be 13, which is what we got. Alright, let's move to question number 3. Let's convert 2 weeks into seconds. Again, I've already set us up by inserting an equation. Then let's go to the design feature. I've already typed in 2 weeks, and as a reminder, we can place that fraction over a 1 if you want to see it on the numerator. Now let's come back in here. I want to go from weeks to seconds. So this one's going to take several successive unit conversions until we get to seconds, because I'm starting at such a large number of weeks and moving down to itty-bitty units of seconds. So the first thing I want to do is get rid of weeks. So I'm going to put week down here. Now I know a quick way of doing 1 week is 7 days. I should put 1 down here just to be specific. Alright, so my first step is done. I have now gotten rid of weeks, and I've moved to a smaller unit of days, but I'm still not to seconds. So now I think, what do I need to get rid of? Now I need to get rid of days. And, I'm going to come over here and just put 1 day, because I know 1 day has 24 hours. And that way I've gotten rid of days and moved down to a smaller unit of hours. There we go. So now I'm going to add my next conversion. Come up here, add another fraction. I like this kind when I'm doing unit conversions. The other ones look pretty when you could do kind of an answer at the end. Alright, now I know I need to get rid of hours to keep moving down the line to get smaller and smaller, and I can put hour or hours. It will still cancel out. 1 hour has 60 minutes. Now I'm going to cross out my hours because I have 1 on top, 1 on bottom. Just the unit of hours, and I've moved down to minutes. And notice I don't have any other units in here. All of them have canceled out. I really only have minutes left. But I'm still not down to seconds, so I'm going to multiply it by yet another fraction. And this one, I know I'm trying to get rid of minutes. I'm going to just do minute. And that's 1 minute. And I know that 1 minute has 60 seconds. Whew, so now I've gotten down to my unit of second. And I'm going to cancel out my minutes, and the only unit I have left here is seconds, and it's just a matter of working through multiplying these fractions together. Multiplying fractions, you multiply numerator to numerator and denominator to denominator. In this case, I'm going to multiply all of these numerators together, and all of those denominators are all just 1, so I'm not even going to worry about putting a fraction at the end. So I'm going to come over here and do 2 times 7 times 24 times 60 times 60. Did we get them all? 2 weeks, 7 days, 24 hours, 60 minutes, 60 seconds, and the only unit left is seconds. So I'm going to come over here, 1, 209, 600 seconds are in 2 weeks. That's a lot. And highlight it as the answer. Okay, let's move on to number 4. 180 miles on 12 gallons of gas when gas costs $3.20 per gallon. We want to know how many gallons we can drive on just $1. This is equivalent to, this is the exact same question found in section 1.4, page 38 in your text. So I'm going to come up here. I left off the equation so you could see it one more time again. Come up to insert equation, and I'm going to start out with a fraction because they gave us a fraction. I did 180 miles on 12 gallons of gas. Now, some of you are going to get a little confused from looking at all of these numbers together. So what I kind of like to do to simplify it and give me a roadmap of where I'm going, I know I'm starting off with a fraction, I'm not even going to look at it for a minute, but I know I'm going to end with a fraction, and they told me I want to know how many miles are in $1 or how many miles I can drive on $1. So I'm going to actually put my answer already at the end because I know I want miles per dollar and $1 in our case. So that kind of tells me I don't want to cancel out miles and I want dollars on the bottom. So I'm going to come up here. I already know I have 180 miles and I know I want that on the top. I was told at the beginning as well that those 180 miles took 12 gallons of gas. All right, now I see that I have 12 gallons on the bottom, but I want dollars on the bottom. So I need to do some sort of a conversion. So I'm going to times it by something. Times. And I know I want to get rid of those gallons, so I'm going to put gallon on the top because I know fraction, if I have something on the top and the bottom, they will cancel. Now I need to replace that with something. Gallons, I was told it costs $3.20 per gallon. Well, there we go. That is my next conversion. 1 gallon is $3.20. Now I have gallon on the top. I'm going to strike it out, cross the top and the bottom, and I am left with units. I have miles on the top, nothing's canceled out there. I have dollars on the bottom, and that's what I wanted. So I just have to fill in my numbers. So I'm going to come over here, 180 miles divided by 3.2 or $3.20 gives me 56.25, or in this case, let's just say 56. Oh, whoops, I missed 12 gallons. Oh, let's hurry and do that quick. It is not 56. I thought that looked funny. Okay, so let's type that in just one more time. 180, I forgot that, 12 gallons on the bottom, divided by 320. There we go. Now some of you are thinking, wait, she did a bunch of divides all at once. Because of the order of operations, my calculator knows that I can just go ahead and keep dividing. If you're not comfortable with that, you can say 180 divided by 12, and then go ahead and divide that by 3.2, but you'll still get the same answer of 4.6875 either way, because of the order of operations. So now we're going to come in here, and I'm going to say, let's just round it to 4.7 miles per dollar. And I'm going to highlight that as my answer so that we know that that was the answer. Okay, let's move on to question number 5. Carpet is $15 a square yard. I want to know how much it will cost per square foot. So the first thing I've done is I already inserted an equation. Come up to design. I got us a fraction. I did $15, and here I did script, and I did a superscript here so that I got yards squared. So it was $15 a square yard. Now a square yard means that I have a yard times a yard. So this is really yard times yard. So to get rid of that, now I'm working towards cost per square foot. So I need to get rid of those yards, and to get rid of the yard on the bottom, I need to put a yard on the top. And I know 1 yard is 3 feet. So far I've crossed out one of these, but wait, we just talked about how yard squared is 2 yards multiplied together, and I have only canceled out one of those. So I need to multiply it yet again by another unit conversion. Oops, need to put a multiplication sign. Multiply by another yard. 1 yard over 3 feet. Now I can cross out all of the yards on the bottom with all of the yards on the top. There we go. Now let's look at the numbers. Equals. So I have $15 and I have 3 feet and 3 feet. Feet times feet will give me feet squared or square foot. Same difference. So I need to just figure out the math there. So numerator times numerator times numerator. 15 times 1 times 1 is still 15. So I'm going to add in my fraction. Up on the top I have $15. On the bottom, all of the yards have now canceled out, and I'm left with 3 feet times 3 feet. 3 times 3 is 9. Feet times feet is feet. Feet squared, and I'm going to add this in. Feet, using my arrow button over, squared, but I haven't reduced this. And this wants to know how many dollars per square foot. So I'm going to come over to my calculator and do 15 divided by 9 equals, or those of you who want to use Microsoft Excel, 15, equals 15 divided by 9. And one of the nice things about Microsoft Excel is I can just copy and paste that in. Equals, Control V, and it'll paste it in for me, or I can type it in because I'm going to simplify this to dollars. 1.67. The 6 rounds up my pennies to a 7, and then I'm going to put per square foot. Square foot. There we go. Or I can just write down here, feet squared. I'm going to do a script just to make it look pretty, and do feet squared like we did before. There we go. So now I have my answer of $1.67 per square foot. Let's move to number 6. I have a rope that's $15 and it was 8 feet long. We want to know the cost per inch. So I've set us up already. I have $15 for 8 feet, and I need the cost per inch. So the first thing I want to get rid of is feet. So I'm going to put feet up here. I want to replace it with inches down here. And I know that 12 inches are in 1 foot. Those of you who are from other countries, that might be a little bit more confusing, so I would use your conversion page that was given to us within the section 1.4. I don't remember the page. I think it's page 38 or 39. Yep, 39 gives you a couple of conversions. So there we go. Now I have feet on the top, feet on the bottom. They will cancel, and I'm left with the only units, dollars over inches. I just need to simplify. So I can come over here and do 15 divided by 8 divided by 12, or I can do this, 15 divided by 8 divided by 12. Remember the 8 was down here as well. There we go. So I'm going to type this in as a $, 0.16, because it'll round up to 16 cents per inch. Now don't forget to label the units. That's a big part of making sure that you have the correct answer. Alright, let's move on to 7. Supposing you drive 500 miles on 22 gallons, we want to know miles per gallon. In this case, they've only given us 2 parts of information, so I'm going to put my 500 miles on the top because I know that I want miles per gallon, miles over gallon. So I have the miles on the top, 22 gallons on the bottom. I don't need to convert anything, just simplify. So 500 divided by 22 gives me 22.7, oops, over button, there we go, 22.7 miles per gallon. That one was pretty straightforward. But what if we want miles per dollar? This one's going to take a couple of conversions. So I've set us up like we did before. And some of you might get a little confused on this, seeing all of these numbers and all of these words. It's the exact same question as before, driving 500 miles on 22 gallons, but they threw in one more thing, that gas is $3.96 a gallon. But here's the key. They told us we need miles per dollar. So I've set us up already knowing that my final result is going to have miles on the top and dollars on the bottom. So when I start this, I know I want to put miles on the top. So I'm going to put 500 miles, and I know that I did 500 miles on 22 gallons. They told me right here. Now here's the trick. We have gas is $3.96 a gallon. So I need to get something in here, multiply this by some fraction that will get rid of the gallons on the bottom. So I'm going to put gallons on the top. And I've been told that I have a certain number of dollars per gallon. So to make this conversion, I'm going to put the dollars on the bottom, which is perfect. It matches just what they've asked me. They want dollars on the bottom. So this one is $3.96 for 1 gallon. Now I have a gallon on the bottom and a gallon on the top that cancel. There we go. Now we just need to type that into either your calculator or Microsoft Excel. Excel, you would just type it in, make sure you put an equal sign, equals 500 divided by 22 divided by 3.96. I think those were all the numbers. 522, 3.96. There we go. Or we can just use this as well. 500. Or you can use your own calculator that you have in your hand and just compare with what I have on the screen. Divided by 22 divided by 3.96, which gives me 5.7 or 5.74 miles for every dollar of cost. There we go, and that's the answer. Let's move on to problem number 9. These problems are similar to section 1.4, part B, numbers 36 to 41. If we have 10 pounds, a 10-pound bag of flour that costs $15.97, we want to find the cost per ounce. Now notice I didn't set anything up here because I kind of want you to think through it. So maybe pause the video, see what would go where and where you're headed to, so and then pop back in. The first thing I really like to do is label what the answer should be. Cost per ounce. Cost is going to be dollars, per is divide, so I have a division sign for my fraction, and I need ounces. Abbreviation for ounces is OZ, so I'm just going to put that down there. Now if I want to end with cost on the top, I need to start with cost on the top. So I'm going to start out with $15.97. On the bottom, I was told at the beginning for my conversion or my equality that this $15.97 got me a 10-pound bag of flour. So I'm going to put 10 pounds. Abbreviation for pounds is LB or LBS. Now I need to multiply that by some sort of conversion. Now I've been told that I want dollars over ounces, and I have dollars, so I don't want to mess with that, but I do want to get rid of these pounds and replace it with ounces. So if I have pounds on the bottom, I need to put pounds on the top. And replacing that with ounces, I have a conversion of 1 pound to 16 ounces. So I'm going to put 1 pound divided by 16 ounces. There we go. Now the pounds will cancel. And I'm left with dollars over ounces, which is exactly what I was headed for. And I want to figure out what all that is, so I'm going to plug in 15.97, I'm just going to use my keypad over here, divided by, don't forget the 10 underneath, and divided by 16. Press enter, and I am left with 0.0, actually let's round that up because I'm not going to do fractions of pennies, I'm just going to do 10 cents. So this cost 10 cents per ounce. Alright, let's move to the next one. Example number 10. A trim carpenter is installing some expensive trim, let's say, what's $5 a foot? Crown molding, a fancy crown molding. And they have a lot of trim in a very fancy house, so they need 500 yards for this trim. We want to know if trim costs this $5 a foot, how many dollars would it cost for 500 yards for the whole construction project? And just as a note, especially for those of you who are out of country, there are 3 feet in a yard. Okay, so I didn't set anything up yet so that we could kind of go through it. If you're feeling comfortable, maybe pause the video, pull up Word or even on your own paper, kind of work things out. Okay, so I'm going to insert an equation, and I know that trim costs $5 a foot. That tells me $5 per foot. So I'm going to insert a fraction and put in $5 over 1 foot. Now I want to get a roadmap going, so I'm going to go straight to the end and add my fraction. I'm looking for how many dollars for 500 yards. So I need dollars per 500 yards. Actually, I don't really like that one on this one. I'm going to do dollars because when you are ordering 500 yards from something and you go to the checkout, they're just going to give you $1 for whatever's in your cart. So they're at a large facility that has lumber, and so I'm just going to say that at the checkout we get, you know, so many dollars. Okay, but I do know that I want to go from feet to yards. So I'm going to times this by, Shift 8, times this by some conversion and get rid of the feet. So I'm going to put feet on the top and I'm going to replace it with yards. Okay, so I have 3 feet is equivalent to 1 yard. Getting that all mixed up. There we go. And that gives me a foot on the top. Feet on top will cancel with the feet on the bottom. Okay, so now I have dollars. I have dollars over yards, but that was only 1 yard, and I needed 500. So I'm going to multiply this one more time. Multiply by 500 yards. And since I didn't put that into a fraction, I can automatically assume that that's a numerator, or if you would like to, you can go up here and put it in a fraction. I'm okay with it. I know it's on the top, so I'm going to cancel out yards actually. And all I'm left with is the feet canceled, the yards canceled. The only unit left is dollars, which is perfect because when you check out at a store, they're just going to tell you how much you owe. So now it's just a matter of typing out, calculating. I have numerator 5 times 3 times 500. Everything's canceled out on the bottom. So I'm going to come over here. 5 times 3 times 500 will give me a total of $7,500 for this construction worker on a certain project. There we go. Let's move to the next one. If I drive 437 miles on 18 gallons of gas, and gas costs $4.05 a gallon, how many miles can I drive on $1? So I've set up our roadmap. I want miles per dollar. They told me in the question, miles per dollar. So I have miles over $1. If I want miles to end on the top for the answer, I'm going to start out with miles. So I'm going to put in my 437 miles. Now I was told 470 miles were driven on 18 gallons of gas, which means I can put that over top of each other because it's equivalent. 18 gallons. Alright, now I know I'm going to have to start multiplying by some conversions here. I want to get rid of gallons because that's not in my answer. Because it's on the bottom, I'm going to put it on the top. And I was told that gas costs $4.05 a gallon, so I'm going to put my $4.05 on the bottom, my 1 gallon on the top for that conversion, and my gallons will cancel the top and the bottom, cancel those out, and I am left with miles over dollars. So let's type that in. 437 divided by 18 divided by 4.05. Those were both on the denominator. Press enter and I will get, there we go, 5.99. Let's go ahead and just round that to 6 miles per dollar. Alright, let's move to the next one. A garden sprinkler. A garden sprinkler sprinkles about 3 gallons of water a minute or per minute. Water costs 75 cents per 1,000 gallons. We want to know how much it costs per hour to water the garden. Well, there we go. Our roadmap is going to be dollars per hour. So I'm going to put dollars here, hours on the bottom, and because I'm starting with dollars on the top, I want to start with dollars on the top from the beginning. So it costs 75 cents per 1,000 gallons. Let's keep that, I'm going to keep that off for just a minute. Let's start with the 3 gallons a minute. So I'm going to do 3 gallons per minute. Notice I have time on the bottom, and I want to end with time on the bottom. It may not be the right one, and I could have gone ahead and done the 75 cents at the beginning just to keep the dollars on the top, but I'm going to go ahead and start with the 3 gallons. It really doesn't matter because multiplication is commutative, meaning that you can reverse it and you still get the same thing. Like 2 times 1 is the same as 1 times 2. Okay, so now I'm going to multiply that by a fraction here, and I want to change minutes to hours. So I'm going to replace this with minute on the top and hour on the bottom. And I know 1 hour is 60 minutes. There we go. So now I can cancel out a minute on the bottom to the minute on the top, and I've replaced with hours. But I'm not done yet. I have gallons on the top and I want dollars on the top. So I go to the next conversion here. I know that 75 cents is equivalent to every 1,000 gallons. So here I'm going to multiply by another fraction. And I want to get rid of that gallon on the top. So I'm going to multiply it by gallon on the bottom, which with my conversion, they've told me how much it costs. I know, that here will be 75 cents per 1,000 gallons. And because I have gallons on the top now and gallons on the bottom, they cancel. And let's kind of take a look. That was a lot of conversions all at once. The minutes canceled. Good. Gallons canceled. I'm left with hours and dollars, and that's exactly what I want. Dollars on the top, hours on the bottom. So let's calculate it out. 3, 60, and 75 are on top. 1,000 is on the bottom. So I'm going to come over here and do 3, and using my number pad, times 60 times 0.75 divided by 1,000 will give me 0.01, so 1 penny per hour to water my garden. All right, let's move to the next one. I just want to double check that. 3 times, oops, that's right. I typed in a 6. I thought that looked wrong. Let's come back. I typed this wrong into my calculator. 3 times 60 times 0.75 divided by 1,000. There we go. I thought it was 13 cents. And because that'll round us up, that's actually 14 cents per hour. Whew, that feels better. Okay, let's move on to the next one. And I'm going to bring this up a little so we have some room to work. How many Japanese yen are equal to 4 European euro? So the first thing I'm going to start out with is the European euro. And I've already inserted our equation. And I'm going to times this by a conversion. I have a euro on the top, so I want to get rid of the euro on the bottom. Up here I can insert symbol. You can find your symbol for euro. I think I may have downloaded that one. Either way, you can just write it down with your pencil. Okay, so I want euro on the bottom, and the only thing I know about euro is what was given to me, that I can replace it with dollar. So the only thing I can do here is put in $1.28. And I know you're thinking, but that didn't get us to the yen. And that's true. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to highlight my euro. I'm kind of getting there. I don't think you'll see the strike through very well since it goes right through the euro sign. But now the euros have canceled, so that's good. I've moved one step closer. I'm still not quite there though. So I need to multiply it by yet another conversion. So here's my fraction. Now I have dollars on the top, and I don't want to end up with dollars, so I want to put a dollar on the bottom. And I know over here that a Japanese yen is equivalent to 1 penny or $0.01 in US. So here I'm going to put up yen, and I'm just going to do a Y since I'm not going to go find it. So there we go. So now I can cancel out my dollar here and here and replace it with yen. And I know that that 1 yen is 0.01 pennies for the US. There we go. So now it doesn't look like it, but my euros have canceled out, my dollars have canceled out, and it's just a matter of calculating what I have left. So I'm going to come over here, 4 times 1.28, and the pennies on the bottom, divided by 0.01. And let's see, enter, there we go. 512 Japanese yen. And I'm just going to type it out on that one. I don't think I have the symbol close at hand. All right, let's go with another example. How many Mexican pesos are equivalent to 6 British pounds? Just like before, I'm going to do my 6 pounds out in front, and I'm going to times that by its conversion. Because pounds are on top, I need to get rid of it on the bottom. And over here, I know the British pound is equivalent to $1.50 in US. There we go. So now the pounds cancel. I'm still not quite there yet, so I'm going to use another conversion just like on the previous problem. The pounds will cancel. So I know I need one more conversion, so I'm going to multiply that by, I need to get rid of the dollars, so I'm going to come down here and do dollars, and I'm going to replace it with what I want, which is the Mexican pesos. And so over here I was told the Mexican peso 8 cents, so come down here, 0.08, and there we go. So now my dollars can cancel, one on top and one on bottom. Cancel out the dollars, and all I'm left with is pesos. So equals, equals 6 times 1.5 divided by 0.08, and that gives me 112.5 pesos. Okay, let's move to problem number 15. This problem is similar to section 1.4 part C, numbers 35, and the next one, number 36. A clothes dryer uses 5,500 watts. Electricity costs 11 cents per kilowatt hour. How much does it cost to run a dryer 20 hours a month? Okay, so I've already inserted our equation, and I want the cost per month. So how much does it cost to run the dollar, or cost to run? And since I'm working with month, I'm just going to put equals a cost, because I don't need to put per month on there since I'm working with just the cost, like we did with the lumber. Okay, so I was told a clothes dryer uses 5,500 watts, and I was told about kilowatts. Now if you watched the Khan Academy video, you know that kilo means 1,000. So I need to change this from 5,500 watts to kilowatts. In fact, put that over a 1 and times this by fraction. I want to change this from watts to kilowatts. So I'm going to put kilowatts is the equivalent to 1,000 watts. And my watts will cancel, and I'm left with kilowatts. Good. Okay, now I need to keep going. I have a conversion for 11 cents per kilowatt hour. So my next one, I'm going to multiply by my next fraction. Now I want to get rid of kilowatts because I want to end up with money. So I need kilowatt to be on the bottom of this fraction. So I'm going to put kilowatt. But it has been joined with hour, and I can't get rid of that one. That shouldn't be a subtraction sign, it should be a little dash, but it's looking like a subtract. That's a dash. And it was told me that it is 11 cents per kilowatt hour. So here, I'm close. I only get to cancel out the kilowatts, not the hours. Okay, so this one actually takes another conversion. So I need to get rid of the hours. I was told that this dryer runs 20 hours a month. So here we go, 20 hours, and we can go ahead and put month on the bottom, although we talked about not putting month. I'm okay with it. Either way, you can put per month or not per month. But now I have hour on the top and the bottom, and the hours both cancel, and I'm left with the watts canceled, the kilowatts canceled. I am left with dollars on the top, which is just what I wanted. And I could put per month, so let's go ahead and put it on there. It doesn't really matter on this one. So now I just need to figure out 5,500, and I'm going to times this by 0.11 and then times that by 20 and divide by what's left on the bottom, only 1,000. There we go, press enter, and I know that this will now cost $12.10 a month to run my dryer if I run it for 20 hours. All right, let's move to the next one. And the last example, similar to section 1.4, part C, number 36. I bought 7 yards of fabric for $35.84. How much does it cost per foot? Okay, so I'm going to come up here and insert an equation. And I want to know how much it costs per foot. So I'm going to start off with my roadmap again. I want cost per foot. So that's actually the answer that I'm looking towards. And add in my fraction at the beginning. So I was told how much it cost. So I'm going to put that at the front because I want to start with that to end with it on the top. $35.84. And I was told that that was for 7 yards. So far everything looks good. I have cost on the top and length on the bottom. But I do have the wrong length. So I'm going to multiply this by conversion of, I need to get rid of the yards on the bottom. So I put yards on the top to cancel and replace it with feet, and I know 3 feet is in 1 yard. The yards will cancel. There we go. And I'm left with dollars on the top. The yards are gone, so dollars and feet. There we go. So let's type it in over here. 35.84. I don't times it with anything because times it by 1 leaves it. Divide by 7. Divide by 3. Enter. There we go. It will cost $1.71 per foot. The 6 will round up that 0 to a 1. And that's the answer. Alright, I hope this tutorial helped you with the conversions and the story problems. Sorry it was so long, but if you wanted to, you can skip through some things, rewind it if you need to, or just move to whatever problem that you're looking for. I hope this helped, and good luck on your test.